good? All right. Coach, you had a couple extra days to prepare for Sam Houston. First of all, talk about how you and the staff went about the use of the bye week this week.
Well, first of all, it was, I felt like our players did a good job last week in practice. I felt like, we went, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, then our coaches were out recruiting Friday and Saturday. We got a lot of players that we've got to see that we're recruiting and do some evaluation. But I thought our players did really good work. In fact, I thought Thursday might have been our best practice that we've had this year. Working on ourselves, working on what we've got to do to be able to get better, to be able to execute on both sides of the ball and in the kicking game. So we got some really good work. We did get a head start, on Sam Houston. So, and, had a chance to watch them play Thursday night. And, so it was a good week. We needed it. And, we just got to get better at little things, and that's what we worked on.
Share some thoughts on your opponent this week in Sam Houston.
Well, first of all, I got a lot of respect for Phil Longo. I've known him for a long time. He's a really good football coach. I think Phil probably, I don't know the exact numbers, but I'm sure he had lower numbers than I had when I got here. He had to replace basically his whole team, or 3/4 of his team was gone. So he had to replace a lot of guys, but they have some good football players. They're, I've heard the comments that he's made, and I talked to him back in the summer about just the continuity and developing the cohesiveness. But they got good players at a lot of different positions, and their staff does a really good job coaching. You watch that game the other night. I mean, that game kind of got away from right at the end, but I mean, it was a good football game all the way through, and so they got players that can make plays, and we're going to have to do the things that we have to do to be able to win the game.
We'll open it up for questions. If you have one, get my attention over here around the wireless microphone. We'll start in the back with Joe.
Just what was your evaluation of Caden Creel and where do things stand on the quarterback situation?
Well, first of all, Joe, I thought Caden came in and did some really good things. He brought a spark. You can tell he's a natural playmaker. Like, makes decisions and goes with it. But like I told him after the game, I've had these discussions as I would with Gavin or whoever else played that position. Is our number one thing is we got to be able to take care of the football. We got to protect the football, and I think if he improves in doing that and keeps on developing, he'll be fine. That the quarterback position is like any other position. When I made the decision to make that change in the game, it wasn't to say that Gavin's not going to be the starting quarterback. It wasn't that. But I do think that position is like any other position. Is there's got to be a competition there, and there's an expectation, just like these young men. There's an expectation to play at a certain level, and just because you fail on a drive doesn't mean that's final. If you can clean up what you got to clean up, then so we expect Gavin to to compete as well as Caden, as well as Cade, as well as anybody else on our football team. But right now it will be we'll compete. We'll see who's playing the best throughout practice. Both of them are getting reps with the first team, and we'll see how it goes from there.
Others?
Garrison Ripa seems to have settled into a pretty good level of consistency. Talk about him and the job he's done.
Well, first of all, I really like his approach to the game. And it's been pretty well written that I'm as hard on these specialists as I am the defensive back or a running back. And just what I said about the quarterback, his position is no different than any other person on this team. And there's a level of intensity and execution that you have to have, and it's probably tougher on these specialists because they have one shot. They don't have 3 shots. They don't have 3 downs. They got 1 down, and that is their down. They got to make it happen right then. And to develop that mentality, I think he, plays with a lot of confidence, but there's mistakes that he makes. When he had blocked early in the year, he overstepped, drove the ball too low. But you know what? We corrected it. He fixed it. I like his mindset. I like where he's at. I got a lot of confidence in him, and I think our team has a lot of confidence in him.
Others, Mark?
Through 5 games, you've been doing a pretty good job of getting a pass rush, 10 sacks. You talk about Emmanuel and kind of his role in that.
Well, I think it's absolutely it. Maybe the first time in 35 years coaching that I've ever had a player like Emmanuel that he hasn't played a lot of football. I mean, this is the first real football he's played, and he's very intelligent, works extremely hard. Sometimes, and I talk to him about not trying to over-process the game, just play, and things will take care of itself. But where he's come through 5 games is pretty much amazing, thinking about the experience that he's had. I could tell that when I first got here, it's the way you pick things up from the first day we got here, from getting in the stance to, what we were asking him to do. And again, I think he's just going to get better and better. And it means a lot to him, and his team means a lot to him. I think he's very grateful for his teammates. He's a very unselfish player. It's not all about him, it's about everybody else. And that's the thing about pass rush is you have to work together. It's not a one-man show. Everybody has to work together, and sometimes it's going to be your day if the guy gets flushed out to you. Sometimes in slide protection, you're not getting as much rush. It's going to be somebody else. But when you have the opportunity, you want to be able to make the play. But his development has been just not only as a football player, but a young man. You couldn't find a better guy to coach.
What is it about him that's allowed him to pick up things as quickly as he has?
Well, he has a lot of natural ability. I think his background in basketball helps him. He's a former basketball player. It's everybody that knows me as a coach knows that I like multi-sport players, but I definitely think his basketball background has helped him. He's got very good size. I mean, when he walks in a room, he looks like guys that are in an NFL locker room. But I think what separates him is his work ethic. He doesn't expect it to come easy. I dare say there's anybody that goes on the field by himself more than he does just working right by himself. I see it from my office. He'll go out on that field on days we don't practice or after practice and work extra to try to, make himself be to create value for himself. But he's a very intelligent young man. A lot of people don't realize how, they see these guys as just football players. This guy can do anything. He could be an astronaut. He could be a doctor. He could do anything he wanted to. He could own a business. He's very intelligent, so he uses that intelligence, on the football field, and I think that's why his progress has been sped up.
Second row, Sam.
Coach, you guys are better than 50% on third down your last 4 games, which really is an exceptional number. Is that something you guys put a lot of focus into because some of you guys are executing pretty well?
Absolutely. And in fact, when I met with the coaches this morning, we talk about, keys to the game, what we got to do to win the game, and on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively. One of the big deals is third down. So on offense, third down conversion. On defense, getting them off the field on third down. We would have hit our goal against Southern Miss if we hadn't had the substitution penalty. But yes, we spend, usually our Tuesday practices are usually first and second down, second and long. And then when we come Wednesday, we spend a majority of our time on third down, and then we in the red area, in the red zone, on both sides of the ball. And then, of course, the Thursday practices are, kind of combined. Now, when we start playing these midweek games, when I start talking about Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, so today is a Tuesday practice. I gotta get in my mind. But the guys know what to expect too. And we work a lot good on good against each other in third down, those situations. Because the one thing about winning football games is this, because you can look at the stat lines, you can't look at the overall stat lines, you know, just the number of yards, you know, given up versus the number of yards gotten. You look at those numbers will lie to you. But when you dig into the things like you talked about, third down efficiency on offense, third down efficiency defensively, how we play in the red zone, all those situations that you play in a football game, that's really what wins the game. They're the situations. You know, 2 minute to begin the game, 2 minute at the end of the half, first 2 minutes of the second half, the last 2 minutes of the game. All those situations that you play affect the outcome of the game. So we try to compartmentalize and work on those different things at different times throughout the week.
Second row to Jared.
Coach, where do things stand from an injury standpoint with you guys?
You know, I think, like I said last week, Aiden Thompson, you know, we're gonna lose him for the year. Jeremiah Orr, you know, he's gonna be out the rest of the year. A lot of these guys, we feel like we got a chance to get back. Daxton Gallagher's been better and better. I think we got a, you know, green light for him to be able to go this week. That'll, you know, that'll help us at depth at linebacker. I think right now we're playing 9-10 true freshmen on the, you know, special teams, offense, defense. We got a couple of true freshmen starting on both sides of the ball, which is good. The only way they learn how to play this game. But getting these guys back from injury will definitely help. I think Andrew Paul, he had a good week's practice. I think the week off helped him, but he practiced good. We should get him back. Just trying to think of some others. But, you know, I think we feel a little bit better about where we're at injury-wise.
Mike?
So you mentioned schedule changing.
Hmm?
You started the year with a Thursday night game, that was the first game, but here you are in the middle of the season, you got Thursday, then back-to-back Wednesdays. First time you've ever had this, is it a little weird to you?
Not to my knowledge, I've never played on a Wednesday night. Played a lot of Thursday night games, played a Monday night game before, that was tough. Because we played, I remember one year, Florida State, we played 3 games in 12 days. That's hard. We started off on Labor Day, that Labor Day kickoff classic deal on Monday night, and we didn't get back to Tallahassee till about 5 o'clock that morning, and then, you know, played that next Saturday and then traveled the next week. I mean, that was tough. I think, you know, you just have to separate it, and what we try to do, like I said, our guys, we look at the day as like a Tuesday practice. Yesterday, you know, we're off on Mondays anyway. You know, the players are off. So yesterday was their off day. We'll come back in, you know, they know what to expect. They can tell you the schedule better than I can. But I think that's kind of the way we set it up. And listen, I like it because it gives our university a lot of exposure. It's good for our players. You know, a lot of the guys that I've coached in the past, the head coach, I'm gonna be able to watch y'all play Thursday night or be able to watch you play next Wednesday. So, you know, I think it's good for our university. I think our players enjoy it, and, you know, I think the players probably adjust better than the coaches do as far as the scheduling part of it.
Come here in the second row.
Coach, in the notes, it's y'all's second conference USA championship game, and it's been a little over a month since y'all played a conference USA game. What is your message to the team going into this week on the road for another conference game?
Well, the first thing we gotta be able to do is, listen, it is a huge game because it is a conference game. But whether it was a conference game or whether we were playing USC, the things that it takes to win the game, it just takes what it takes, no matter if it's conference or not. And I think, you know, playing on the road, you gotta be able to, you gotta play good defense. You can't give up things on special teams, you gotta protect the football. When you go on the road, you gotta do those three things. You know, I'm sure all of y'all had when we have a weekend where we don't play on Saturday, I got to watch a lot of college football yesterday in between, watching, Sam Houston, and it doesn't matter where you play at, what league you're in, what conference you're in, where you're ranked, it really doesn't matter. What it takes to win a game, it just takes, and you got to do it. And it is important because that is, our goal is to win every game. That's our goal. So doesn't matter where we're playing at or who we're playing, we got to be able to do those things. I got a lot of respect for all the teams that we play, but our players will tell you it's not about what other teams do, it's about what we do. We got to make sure we take care of the things that we take care of.
We'll do one more in the second row before we get to the guys.
Coach, is there an area on Sam Houston that in your mind minimizing that is a big key to winning this Thursday?
Well, first of all, I think their quarterback is a really, really good player. He can throw it and he can run it. They have some good running backs. In fact, McCaskill, who's listed as the backup, he was at Colorado the year I was at Colorado. And as a freshman at Houston, he was like freshman of the year. He's a very talented running back. They got good backs. They got big offensive line. They got two linebackers that make a lot of plays. C.J. Johnson, number 8. He makes a lot of plays. So they got good players. Again, they're new too. They have a lot of new guys in their program, and that's I know from experience that's a challenge. Of doing that, but. I think they, like I said, Phil's a good coach, and I think the quarterback's a really good player, and I think the running backs, they can run the football. So we gotta be able to stop the run, and we gotta be able to eliminate explosive plays, and then on offense, we gotta be able to run the football. I think I look across college football right now, when you can't run the football, especially when you're on the road, it makes for a long day.
Thanks for the time today, Coach.
Thank you.
Coach.
You don't want me to. I'm mad, bro.
You want to stay for that one?
No, he don't want me to stay. I love him though.
Thanks, Coach. Come on up, fellas. All right, to your right is defensive lineman Emmanuel Oyevadajo. To your left is kicker Garrison Ripa. E, we'll start with you. Now that you're getting your first reps of college football, just kind of talk about the progress that you've made week by week and getting more comfortable playing.
Yeah, coaches always say, like, the best experience you can get is game experience, and I really find that out playing now. Like, I came a long way over the winter workouts, spring ball, fall camp, but, I still don't think like I made the progress I did by playing real games and stuff like that. But yeah, there's been a lot of growing pains, still a lot to learn, a lot to get better at, but I'm really grateful for the experience. Like, it's helped me come a long way as a football player.
Garrison, how much did hitting that overtime field goal in the New Orleans Bowl help your confidence going into year 2 and now into this year?
I'd say it really helped a lot, and the people who don't really get enough credit on that, I got most of the credit for it, but my snapper Tommy in the bowl game and Cade, Cade's still here holding for me. Like, having Cade and he's been holding for me since I got here, so really he's just been having that continuity at that position. It really just helps me trust everything more, and that really helped my confidence going into last year, because playing in a game, it's completely different than in practice. Like, I'd like to say that I wasn't nervous, but man, no, I definitely blacked out for that one. I don't really remember anything up until I was up on the goalpost punching and falling down. So, but yeah, so just having all that experience, it's really helped me gain some confidence going into this year, and yeah.
Awesome. Let's open it up to questions for the guys. Awesome.
Yeah, man. Well, Coach mentioned your career in basketball before you started playing football. I got 2 questions for you, actually. How big of a transition was it to go from basketball to football, and how big of a transition was it to go from Exeter to here at Jax State?
Yeah, so going from basketball to football, I mean, I would say this, like, you know, people look at somebody like me and they think, you know, you big, you fast, you supposed to just be good at football, but man, especially when I got to Jacksonville State, I realized there's so much more that go into, you know what I'm saying, like the basketball part, like it definitely helped me going through my teenage years to develop the speed and agility to be like a good athlete, but still it was nothing in comparison to the things you have to learn to be able to play football, you know what I'm saying, like striking with your hands, positioning, technique, you know, pass rushing moves, things like that. So yeah, I mean the basketball part, it definitely helped me grow as an athlete physically, but still it was, I had to come here basically. I had to come to Jacksonville State to be able to be a good football player instead of just a good athlete, I would say.
Let's go to Sam in the second row, then Mark.
For Garrison, Coach kind of talked about at the beginning of his comments that you guys kind of put an emphasis on working on the kicking game during the bye week. What did that look like, kind of, and do you see an improvement from last week to this week?
Yeah, really we just had a whole lot more individual drills for the position players on a whole. I mean, kicking wise, it doesn't really change what we do week to week. I'd say that we kind of have the same schedule. You know, we'll kick field goals and punt on Tuesday. We'll go hit kickoffs and kickoff return on Thursday, and not Thursday, Wednesday, and then Thursday we'll bring everything together and kind of do all of that. But on the bye week, we really just kind of like wanted to make sure we're staying healthy, keep our legs fresh, and just make sure all the guys around us are getting work too.
For both of you, you both have had a little bit of a journey to get here to where you are. Manuel, if you could start kind of how you got here and what last year was like when you didn't play. And after that, Garrison, I know you had, before the New Orleans Bowl, you were essentially in a holding pattern too. So if you could start.
Yeah, so yeah, my journey here, I would say it's been quite unique. I didn't really play football till I was 19. You know, growing up in the UK, football, American football as we call it, isn't really big. So I grew up playing basketball. I went to med school at 18. You know, I didn't really have I didn't really care to play any sports. I was going to get to like education and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? Be a doctor, but by chance I started playing football. I went to go watch my friend play. He was on the football team there, and you know, they saw me on the sideline, saw my physique. They was like, you know what, you should give it a try. So remember that next Wednesday, I was there, and you know, playing initially, I was just looking for something to keep myself active and busy, you know, in my spare time when I wasn't studying for tests and exams. But then over time, I grew to fall in love with the sport. So I would say November of 2023, you know, that's when I realized, you know, this is something that I really want to pursue. So I started like trying to take steps to move here to play, because this is where the pinnacle of football is. So you know, I reached out to my coach in the UK, and they had connections and stuff like that. And you know, over time, I got interest, and one of the people that, you know, found me was, you know, Coach Rodriguez, the last coaching staff, and Coach Green. So that's how I came over here, and then, you know, just them leaving and having to transition into Coach Kelly. I'm really grateful for it. Like it's been so helpful in my development, and I really thank God for it, because it's allowed me to grow as a player. I'm so happy that we have Coach Kelly. I have my position coach, Coach Garcia, and these guys being first-time coaches. It's not often you see first-time coaches coming to it straight away and be really good and things like that, and have that perfect continuity. But I had that, and I'm so grateful for that.
When I was in high school, I didn't play football until I got into high school. I was just going through open house. I was a soccer player, and went through open house, and I got to PE, and the football coach was like, "Oh yeah, we need you. You play soccer, right? Yeah, just come up to a practice real quick." And from there, I was kicking, and it was kind of fun. I enjoyed being around the guys, so I just kind of stuck with it. And then junior year, I was like, oh, I could really take this somewhere. And then senior year, my recruitment started picking up a little bit more, and Coach Thurman was still here on staff with the staff before Coach Rodriguez, and he was recruiting me. I'd like to say pretty hard, but you never know until you actually get here. And that they ended up leaving, and I just ended up coming to school here because, you know, I love the campus, love the area. It's close to home. So, and after that, I walked on, and they told me that there wasn't going to be a spot for me in the fall because they had a 6th-year kicker in Brenton King, and once he graduated in the winter, they'd bring me on. So they did that, and I was behind AK, and he really taught me a lot, just how to go about stuff on game days, you know, traveling wise, what to do, what not to do, and that really helped me. So now I'm playing and having a lot of fun. So yeah, that's really that.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that, guys. Mike?
Oh, Manuel, did you play soccer growing up?
I did. I played up until I was 11. But yeah, as you can imagine, I got way too big for it too quickly. So I had to make transition to basketball. That's our version of like a sport for bigger guys. But yeah, I mean, I'm still a soccer fan. I'm a Manchester United fan. Yeah, I don't play much, but yeah.
So, basketball. Why did you give up basketball? Why did you turn to football?
So for me, like I enjoy basketball, but it really had to do with the fact that I'm a very academic minded person. So, you know, going into college, I was like, I ain't gonna make it pro here. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna take all my energy and attention. I'm gonna focus it into med school so I can be a doctor. So it's like, I don't really need to do this on the side. So that was really what it was.
How far did you get in med school?
So I go through about 2 years, which is quite a while. Obviously in the UK, you can go straight out of let's say high school. So at 18, you can go into med school because it's slightly different. So I made about 2 years there, but leaving that to come here and play football, like you can imagine, my parents weren't too on board with the idea. But yeah, and growing up in the UK, they didn't really care for American football. But it's like, yeah, I would say when they invited me out of my OV and they flew my parents out across the Atlantic Ocean, paid for their hotel and things like that, that's when they started to come on board. Like, maybe he doing something here. So, yeah.
Emmanuel, do you still have desires for a medical degree?
My parents didn't like this answer, but no. Yeah, you know, I'm working hard. My dream is to go to the NFL, so I'm working hard to make that happen. I mean, I ain't there yet, but you know, we put in the work to make it reality. So yeah.
Austin?
Garrison, you've been perfect since having your first field goal block this season. How does that feel for you?
It's mixed emotions because, you know, getting one block, you don't like it because you really don't know. Because I think I put it on frame. You know, I haven't really watched it since that Sunday after we played. But, you know, I'd like to think I'd make it. So it's kind of good, but in the same way, I'm like disappointed about it because, you know, I could be perfect actually, but now I'm just whatever the percentage is now. I'm not really sure about it, but really just trying to keep working about it and making sure I stay perfect from here on out.
And Emmanuel, you mentioned your parents. I was just wondering how difficult that might be, you know, playing in a whole different country for them. Are they still back in the UK, and how often do you get to see them?
Yeah, so they still back in the UK. The last time I got to see them, I got to see them in December. So that little period that we had a break between the bowl game and when we got back for winter workouts. You know what I'm saying? My parents, you know, I love them obviously. They played a big part of my life, raising me. I like to think, you know, they did a good job. But yeah, I don't get to see them often, but it's cool. I call them all the time, and you know what I'm saying? It's great in Jacksonville. So I can't really say I'm homesick, you know what I'm saying? Because I love it here, but yeah.
Emmanuel, is there anything you miss about home and food, just anything, driving on the left side of the road?
I'll say the biggest thing I miss about home, apart from my parents and stuff, I would say is the food. You know what I'm saying? Like, as you can tell from my last name, I'm Nigerian, you know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of like ethnic Nigerian food that I ate growing up. I don't get to eat it as much here, you know, like it's, I don't know, McDonald's, Whataburger. That's what we go right there. But yeah, I mean, I've got family in Texas that my uncles and aunties, obviously they're Nigerian, so they're gonna come to the South Houston game. I'm gonna have to tell him to pack me some like jollof rice and stuff to like for me to eat. So yeah.
Awesome. Garrison, we'll wrap it up with you. What do you think is the biggest improvement you've made to your game going into this season?
Honestly, I think it's the mental aspect. I've really done a lot of preparation this season, and I read a lot of books in the off season. I'm reading one now. It's The Secrets to Pure Performance, I think it's called. It's by George Mumford, and that one's really interesting. If you guys want to check that out at all, but I've really just mental game. I've done a lot of boring stuff, I'd like to say, but it's just stuff that'll help keep me consistent throughout the year. I've done a lot of tape measure alignment. I think I try to do take my steps 100 times per week. Set the ball up on a kickoff. I do that 50 times a week. And I do my dry runs on kickoffs 20 times a week. And it's just stuff that I've done with my kicking coach outside of here. And what he's done has really helped me over the years, because he's been my kicking coach since I want to say my junior year of high school. And yeah, he's just taught me a lot of stuff, and especially Ty Long really helped me as well. He really got me thinking about my mental side after I think it was in the spring of last year. I saw him a couple times, and he got me going on the mental side too. So
Great. Thanks so much for sharing today, guys. Appreciate it.
thank you.